Next thing we're going to talk about is choosing your paycheck. And this is something that's really important. So the career that you choose is going to determine your paycheck for the rest of your life. And there are different careers you can choose if you have the freedom to be able to go to college and go to university and pursue your education and pursue a career, which is a blessing to have that freedom. If you have that freedom to do that, and if you have the freedom to choose your career, different careers will give you different paychecks. Some will give you big paychecks, some will give you a really small paycheck. And you want to think about which careers are going to give you financial health, because financial health is really important in life. And when you're selecting your career, you want to think about not only what's interesting to you and what would you enjoy doing and what can bring you satisfaction, but you also want to think about how much do each of those careers pay. So let me give you an example. For me, I could totally work in the medical industry. That'd be fine. There's a bunch of different areas in there which are interesting to me. Being a sleep doctor would be really interesting to me, right? Doing something with physical fitness and health would be really interesting to me. I have a friend who's an orthopedic surgeon. He makes over $1 million a year. Over $1 million a year. That's like, you know, what, $90,000 a month he's making, or each week he's making $22,000, $23,000 every week. Like, that's a tremendous amount of money. So in my own life, I could have totally done something in the medical field. That would have been fun, right? Being a professor, also really interesting to me. I enjoy it. I love it. I'm happy where I ended up. I also could have been a firefighter. I had a friend who became a firefighter. He became a captain of a firehouse and then became the chief of the entire region in Southern California. And he was the chief of a large area, and he made $500,000 a year as the chief of a large region in Southern California for being a firefighter. And then also being an airline pilot. Like, I've known people, I have another friend who became an airline pilot. He makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year flying for a major airline, and his job is great. I could have done any of those jobs. But another job that I wanted to do was I wanted to be a director. I wanted to make movies. But the odds of me being successful as somebody in the movie industry are really small. I also wanted to be a writer, right? And the odds of me being successful as a writer are also really small. Like, those are hard jobs. And if you look at the statistics on those jobs, what is the average salary, right? Like, what is the probability of success? Yeah, there are some people who do amazing. Francis Ford Coppola, amazing director. Quentin Tarantino, amazing director. Stephen King, amazing writer. There's some amazing writers, amazing musicians, amazing actors, amazing directors, but the probability of being one of those people who breaks through and is in the very small percentage of the very successful in those fields, that probability is really low. The probability of me being successful in the medical field and getting a good paycheck, me being successful as a professor and getting a good paycheck. So professors in business, if you're at one of the top 20, top 50 universities in America, you're going to make between $200,000 to $500,000 a year, working 32 to 36 weeks a year, right? Because a semester is, 16 to 18 weeks. And you teach 2 semesters a year, so that's 32 to 36 weeks a year. You're going to make $200,000 to $500,000 a year as a professor at the top 50 universities in America. And then you could also do consulting on the side, and you get paid for that. Or you could start your own businesses on the side and make money from that, right? So the medical field, being a professor, or being a firefighter, or being, an airline pilot, all of those would have worked for me. But I did not choose. I literally started out to go, work in Hollywood. I went to UCLA. I literally started out thinking I'd pursue that. And I had already some success with documentaries when I was in high school. I created some documentaries that did well. But when I saw that there were so many people who are wanting to get into this industry and they got paid so little, and there were so few that had succeeded and made it to the top, and everybody was just struggling and grinding. I have another friend who continued down that route of being a director, and his life has been a grind. It's been a grind. He doesn't get paid that much money. He's being flown around not in a good way, but like in coach to go shoot corporate commercials in different locations. He's away from his family. It's a grind. It's a hard life, right? And so I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna pursue that career. I'm not going to pursue that profession. And I went for things where I had a higher probability of success, that I would have a good job, which was satisfying and meaningful to me and also gave me a good paycheck. And so that's what I want you to really think about. If you have the luxury, the blessing of being able to go to college and then university to pursue your bachelor's degree and your master's degree, and then your graduate school degree, your doctorate, or your MD, if you have that blessing to be able to pursue that, seize that opportunity. Not everybody in the world has that blessing. It's a rare and exceptional blessing to be able to pursue your education, pursue a career, and also to be able to choose that career that you want to go after, which is tantamount and akin to choosing your paycheck. So you want to really think about, what paycheck am I choosing? What is my probability of success? And you can use AI to help you to do this, right? So you could say, what are the different fields in medicine like, right? What's it like to be a sleep doctor? What's it like to be a surgeon, to be a bone surgeon, whatever they're called? I said it just a second ago, right? What's it like to be a general practitioner? Or to be OBGYN and deliver babies, right? Like, what's that job like? What's that look like on a day-to-day basis? What's the average salary of that job? Or you could do that for being a professor. You could ask AI to give you the average salaries for different jobs you're interested in. And you could also ask AI, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, Copilot, Claude, try them all. Say, what is this job like on a day-to-day basis? Like, what is the job satisfaction level of this job? Right? So there's different known satisfaction levels. Some jobs, people are really highly satisfied in their job, and it's known to be really satisfying. Other jobs, it's really known to not be satisfying, right? Being a professor is actually a highly satisfying job because you're helping people, you get intellectual stimulation, you get paid fairly well, right? You're not gonna be like one of the wealthy people, but you'll have a nice life. You're not gonna be super wealthy, but you'll have a nice life. So you really wanna research what job and what careers are available for you. Because I've known people who've chosen careers and they've been a grind and they haven't paid well. So really think about it. Really think about what career you're going to go after and what kind of paycheck you get for that. Because money is really important to life. It's one of the 4 areas of health. And if you got your physical health, you got your financial health, you have your intellectual, mental, emotional health, which is all up here. And then you also have your social health. So finances, financial health is one of the 4 areas of health. And if you have great financial health, it makes everything else in life easier. It makes your relationships easier. It makes your physical health easier. It helps you take care of your intellectual, mental, emotional health, right? It allows your kids to go to better schools, allows you to live on the better side of town, allows you to have better cars, allows you to have a better house, allows you to have better health care, allows you to have better food in your fridge, allows you to have better vacations, right? So financial health is really important to life, and life takes a tremendous amount of money, actually, particularly if you end up having a family and having kids. You're gonna need a paycheck which, is significant and which, does well, provides significant money, sufficient money to be able to have a good life. And you can make that choice. You can make that choice right now. You get to choose your paycheck. If you have that luxury and if you have that blessing, you get to choose your paycheck. You get to choose what career you're going to pursue. And it's really important for you to think about the gravity of this choice, right? I thought about it when I was young and I switched away. I switched away from something I loved, which was film, and I switched away from something else that I loved, which was literature. I loved the power of story. I wrote a bunch of stories. I wrote 50 novels, and I made so little money from all of them when I was younger. I was really passionate. I was really committed. I worked really hard, and I just never broke through. It's the rare person who becomes like the Stephen King or the J.K. Rowling, and for the vast majority of people in those fields, there's a lot of really talented people who just don't ever make it to the top small 10, 15, 20 writers, or the top 10 actors, or the top 10, 20, 15 musicians, right? Whatever, like very few people make it that far. And so I made that choice and I switched to a more practical career, and it's also been really rewarding and really enjoyable, and it's also given me a good paycheck. So think about this. Think about it. Think about which paycheck you want to choose. If you have that luxury, that opportunity, that blessing to choose your career, think about which career you go after. Because, end of the day, we're working, right? We got to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, putting in our time, and then we get a paycheck. And you could put in your time at something that gives you a small paycheck, or you could put in your time at something that gives you a big $1 million a year paycheck. And both of those jobs could be equally enjoyable and equally satisfying. And so when you're thinking about it, okay, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, I'm working. I'd enjoy both these jobs. Let me take the one with the big paycheck. So there's ways to make it all happen too, right? You can make it all happen. And my friend who became the orthopedic surgeon, there's the word I was looking for. My friend who became the orthopedic surgeon, he went as an undergraduate pre-med, and then after he graduated pre-med, he applied to med schools, he got accepted, and then he went to the military, and this is the way it works in America, and he said, I'm accepted at these med schools, and he enrolled in the military. The military paid for him to go to med school, gave him a salary while he was going to med school, and then after he went through med school, he went into the military, and he was a surgeon in the military for several years, and he still got a salary, right? But he didn't have debt from med school. He got a salary while he's going through med school. He got a salary while he was serving the country as a surgeon, and then he got out and he works in private industry, and he makes over $1 million a year now. So there's ways to make all this happen. But the main takeaway from this video is choose your paycheck. You could have equally enjoyable, equally satisfying jobs. One doesn't pay that much. One will pay amazingly. Choose the one that pays amazingly, because that will give you great financial health in life, and that'll make everything else in life easier. So here are the main takeaways from this video. You can look through this lecture description of this video right here, so you could pause this video and read through the lecture description. But the main takeaways are that life requires effort and work. You're gonna have to put in effort and you're gonna have to work if you wanna have a great life. There's no getting around that, even if you are already independently wealthy. Life requires effort and work to build a great life. And so that's the first thing, is you're gonna have to work. There's no escaping that. Embrace it. The second thing is that many different jobs will be enjoyable and satisfying, right? So I'm gonna add enjoyable and satisfying to that. And you should choose a job that provides a great paycheck. That's the next big takeaway right there. And then finally, you want to AI future-proof your career. And so here are some prompts that you can enter into any of the AI chatbots: Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Claude. And you could enter this prompt into any of those chatbots, and you could look to see which jobs are going to survive AI automation, because AI is going to automate a lot of jobs, and already like comp sci is getting hit so hard, and programmers are getting hit so hard because AI can do that. And what AI can't do are human things, empathy things, right? So being a teacher, being a professor, and if you're going to be a teacher, work in post-secondary education. There are better working conditions. You get more autonomy, you get more flexibility, you get better pay. Right? The hours aren't as intense. At least you don't have to be in the classroom as intensely. You get more flexibility about, working in your office and doing things in your office. So, and researching and doing what you're interested in as a professor, that's better. So post-secondary if you want to be a teacher. But being a teacher is going to survive AI according to what everybody's looking at. The human-oriented, human touch. Being in the medical profession, we like having humans there when we're learning. We like having humans there when we're getting health care, right? That's also going to be really useful. And you could go to AI and you could enter these prompts to see what careers are going to survive AI automation. So you could AI future-proof your career. So that's also the other important thing that's really good to know. All right, so that's this video here. Think long and hard about which career you choose, because when you choose your career, there could be careers that are equally enjoyable and equally satisfying, but they could pay significantly differently. Their pay could be significantly different. So choose the one that if you have, equally enjoyable, equally satisfying, choose the one that pays great, because that will give you great financial health in life. So that's choosing your career and choosing your future paycheck.